Another nice fall day in the mountains. As you can see, there's very little breeze. Perfect day for flying. You can hear somebody flying above me, actually. There's only one little problem. It's raining. So, little breeze, but with the rain, I will be indoors today. And I'm still going over this flight. It wasn't time for me to go do a fun fly yet. I didn't even have my platforms tuned. But, I've been excited to go flying, and when Walter wanted to go flying, it was just more than I could take. So I've been looking at this, and there weren't as many mistakes made. There were two things that I missed. One was, and you see here, the auto takeoff worked really well. That's my second ever attempt. Successful. I did miss GoPro with this. And there's one item on my unpacking checklist that was very important that I didn't do. And also, manual mode, as some had said, wasn't the best emergency button for me. So let's look at one of the problems that I hadn't talked about yet. And that is one very important item on my checklists. If you run right down through here and look at this one right here, it is an umbrella. You take an umbrella in case it rains while you're flying? Actually, no. This is the really thick black plastic tub I use to control the sunlight coming into this from basically all sides except one, the front that's open. It does a really good job, except on that one side. And of course the angles right and left that let light in. And this is how I use it in the car when I take the car. It works really, really well, except for I can't see. Yeah, one little problem. Yeah, it does work, but it doesn't. Especially when I had bad cataracts, it didn't work. But even with the bad cataracts, I found that an umbrella solved 80-90% of my problem. This is a little shoebox that goes inside that big tub, and it holds a lot of the things on the checklist. Almost everything on the checklist, except for the notebook computer, fits in this box. And one of the things that's in this box is this collapsible umbrella. And there's a host of other things in here: spare receiver, radio batteries, some double-sided tape, side cutters, electric screwdriver, bits. Oh boy, that probably doesn't need to be stored in there. That's a USB input interface card for composite video. You probably don't need to be carrying that around in there. But as you can see, and it's a nice little box, some fancy shoes Pam had or something. Well hinged, heavy cardboard and stuff. But anyway, so I did put the composite video capture device back in there because that's used on that antenna tower for the 1.2 video and the 5.8 on it if you like to get it into the computer for recording. Probably should put the electric screwdriver in the tube it's supposed to be in and put that tip back in. I don't take much to the field while I was putting all of this back in here. These gloves are not for anything but anti-slip. They are just really crazy. I thought they would be good for holding the airplane as you got ready to throw it, but
then the problem is they don't work on the mouse pad on the notebook or a screen on a cell phone after you put them on. So that's still a work in progress. But this has served me well. This and the notebook computer is all I really have to carry for my ground station. I mean, it's not much. I don't have a spare battery for the notebook. I don't know if it would fit in here or not. But a shoebox and a notebook computer isn't a bad ground station to me. The antenna tire for capturing the video and telemetry seems to be more cumbersome to me than the notebook and a shoebox, but whatever. Oops. Actually, the little landing pad I use for the DJI and other verticals doesn't go in the shoebox, obviously. So it's a shoebox, a landing pad when I have to have it, and then the notebook computer. Sorry about that. That wasn't quite accurate. And one of the little metal arms that holds the umbrella out's broken right now. But that doesn't matter. I can put this over my shoulder, and as you can see, it just perfectly drapes over that box. And just that much darkening down was, even with the cataracts, it was, I'd say 80% effective. It pretty much worked. Wasn't optimal, of course, but it pretty much worked. And that's what I had been doing. And these little old collapsible umbrellas like this, you can get them a dime a dozen. They break third or fourth time you use them, but they're not expensive. Somebody told me to get a golf umbrella. Well, as you can see, this pretty much fits that box.
So I don't feel a bigger one's needed. Maybe one more light blocking, darker, thicker fabric. But you see, the big deal here is that was forgotten on the checklist. Didn't take that out. It was there physically, but I didn't take it out and use it. And when we were trying to see the computer, Walter even remarked, "Boy, that you can't see that." Yeah, I know. This was the first time I had been out since my cataract surgery. It didn't seem a lot different. I guess there was diminished light coming into my eyes previously, but the reflections and everything was equally diminished. So it seemed to me, thinking back on it, to be about the same. And if Walter couldn't see it, there's another human can't see it. I should have. It was arm's length away to reach and open up the umbrella. That was probably the biggest mistake of the day, right next to having manual mode as a backup safety, which I've been told about. We'll change that. But while we were there Sunday, Walter suggested that get some Velcro, put it around the top and sides of this, and Velcro on some kind of cloth to put over your head, which I told him, I've been looking for that for a while. Or actually, I wasn't in an active search at that time, but I had been looking for one of those. I had no idea what it was called or anything like that. A cloth like they used on the old-timey cameras, the old wooden 5x4s, I think they were, and 8x10 film cameras that were the bellows in the front slid, and that's how you focused them. And the guy held up a thing in his hand with flash powder in it, and it electrically ignited and burnt, and that's how they lit their subjects back then. But when they focused, they always used some kind of a cloth over their head to get that all focused. That was because it was ground glass lenses they were using and looking at. And those ground glass lenses have more reflection than anything on the face of the planet, it seems. So if you remember, they would go underneath that hood thing and they would get everything ready, and then they would take it back off their head, and then they'd slide in their photographic plate, and then they'd hold up their little whatever with flash powder was in and say, everybody smile, and then they'd take the picture. Well, I don't know what you call that cloth, but that's what I had been looking for, and that's what I told him Sunday. I said, yeah, I've been looking for one of those old-timey cloths like they used to drape over their heads for seeing through the old cameras. I think that might be good. Well, they're called focusing hoods, and there's some very specialized ones out there. And I'm not sure yet, but they're supposed to pretty much block the light. So that actually, I've been thinking about this for probably 3 or 4 years. I hadn't come to the point where I was ready for FPV totally. But you see, because of the ground station, a solution had to come up with a solution. There just was no way around it.
And there it is. I haven't seen this much more than what you see right here yet myself. It just arrived. You know, I thought about taking a piece of silver ripstop nylon and finding some other fabric to put with it at the fabric store and doing this myself, but it's not my forte, so to speak. So this does have a gather elastic on this side. That's fine with me. This is basically it's somewhat square except for this side, but that's not going to matter much. Let's see. This one does not have any kind of a zipper system, but it can be zipped up like this. I mean, velcroed up right here like this around a monitor. The inside is dark black and the outside is I would call that a maroon. They called it red. My cell phone doesn't seem to be matching that very well. It is more of a maroon. It's not as red as I see on my cell phone right now. Let's see what we can do with this. And there it is. I kind of held it up to the fluorescent light above me and you can't see through it. And I think that draped over that big black tub is going to be absolutely killer in my opinion. Now I just quickly fixed it up here with some little clamps, but the draw I pulled out and it comes down the sides maybe 3 inches at most, but I think it'll be a good light blocker from now on. And I honestly do hope and think at this point, you know, I'd like to have a van, all this inside a van where I could be completely in the dark, but I don't have my wishes. Not until I win the lottery tonight. So that's my solution to the ground station problem, being able to see it. I honestly don't think I'm going to have to do much more on this one, but if this doesn't satisfy my needs, we will attack it from another direction.
Thank you.